Good morning, children. Today we are going to see 5th Standard, Term 3, Unit 3, Supplementary Reader, The Case of the Missing Water. Children, let us read the story, children. Yes, The Case of the Missing Water. The tank in Divya's village was almost dry. Ammachi began to pray for rain. Amma collected all the buckets and pots and vessels in the house and filled them up. We need to store as much water as we can, she said. Appa collected tools to dig a little deeper. We just need enough until the rains arrive, he said. Divya got out her notebook and pencil. She put on her thinking cap and followed her parents to the tank. She examined the tank bed closely. It was cracked and dusty. Divya wondered, where did the water in the tank go? Did it run away? Was it stolen? This is a mystery. Divya loved solving mysteries. Like the time Ammachi couldn't find her reading glasses, Divya had found them in her book, marking the page she was reading. I will find that water, Divya muttered to herself. Divya walked to the other side of the tank, past dead fish and dried reeds. Do you know where the water could have gone? Divya asked a fisherman. Downstream, the fisherman suggested. Divya followed the dry stream bed down the hill. At the bottom was another tank. It had lots of goats but no water. Divya asked the goatherd, do you know where the water might be? Upstream, the goatherd suggested. That's where I came from, Divya said. No water there. Further up then, the goatherd said. That's where your water comes from. Divya climbed up to the tank. Then she climbed up some more to a tank further up the hill. There was no water, no birds. There was only one person there. Rani, I can't find any water. Any idea where it's gone? Divya called to her. She knew Rani from school. Downstream, Rani called back. Divya was suddenly angry. She stomped her foot. No, she shouted. It's not. I have searched and searched. It's not upstream or downstream. Got it? How about up there? Rani suggested. Divya and Rani looked up at the sky. The sun glared back at them. Everything was white hot and dusty. No, they agreed together. No water there. Children, now let us see the explanation of the story. Once there was a village. In the village, the tank in Divya's village was almost dry. Children, here the tank means the bank of the river. The bank of the river. Her grandmother began to pray for rain. Divya's mother collected all the buckets and pots and vessels in the house and filled them up with water. Her mother said, we need to store as much water as we can. Her father collected tools to dig a little deeper well. Then her father said, we just need enough until the rains arrive. Divya got out her notebook and pencil. She put on her thinking cap and followed her parents to the tank. She examined the tank bed closely. It was cracked and dusty. So the tank means bank of the river. Divya wondered, where did the water in the tank go? Did it run away? Was it stolen? This is a mystery. Children, here mystery means strange or unknown thing. So, Divya loved solving mysteries. Or at the same time, her grandmother couldn't find her reading glasses. Then Divya had found them in her book, marking the page. Then she was reading. She muttered to herself, yes, I will find that water. Next day, Divya walked to the other side of the tank. Divya asked to a fisherman, "Do you know where the water could have gone?" The fisherman told her, "Downstream." Then Divya went to the dry stream bed down the hill. At the bottom was another tank. It had lots of goats, but no water. She asked the goatherd. Goatherd means here a person who takes care of a group of goats. A person who takes care of a group of goats. She asked him, "Do you know where the water might be?" Then the goatherd told her, "Upstream." Before, fisherman told her, "Have you searched downstream?" Now goatherd said, "Have you searched upstream?" "That's where I came from," she said to the goatherd. There was no water. The goatherd said, "Further up then." "That's where your water comes from." Divya climbed up to the tank. Then she climbed up some more to a tank further up the hill. There was no water, no birds, but there was only one person, lone person sitting on a boat. There was a middle in the empty tank. Divya called her friend, Rani. "Rani, I couldn't find any water. Any idea where it's gone?" Rani told Divya, "Have you searched downstream?" Divya was suddenly got angry. She stomped her foot. "I have searched upstream and downstream. There was no water." Rani asked her, "How about up there?" Both were looked up at the sky. The sun glared back at them. Everything was white hot and dusty. Divya and Rani agreed together, no water there. Children, now let us read the story. Divya collapsed into the boat with Rani and gnawed on a lotus stem. She was hot and tired. Manju's parents left the village, Divya said. They went to the city where they have water. Maybe we should all go. You go, Rani snapped. No one asked you to be here. Fine, Divya said. And she stomped back home. But it wasn't fine. There was still no water, still no rain. The next day, Divya brushed her teeth with muddy tank water in a tiny glass. Pooh! She spat. In school, the class was half empty. More families had left the area. She missed all her friends. In the middle of environmental studies class, she turned and ran out of school. She ran and ran until she was panting. She finally sat at the side of the road. I have to find that water, she huffed. Can I help? Said a voice. It was Rani, who had seen Divya running away from school. Divya beamed, yes. We have to do this properly, Rani said, like real sanitary engineers. Like who? Divya asked. Sanitary engineers build pipes and tanks and drains. I'm going to be one when I grow up, Rani said. Divya and Rani decided to draw a map of their village and all its tank and streams, showing all the places where the water might have flowed. Where could the water possibly have gone? Finally, they sat back and pored over the map. We haven't seen that tank yet. Divya pointed to one of the tanks they had drawn. Let's go, Rani agreed. Divya and Rani began climbing up the hill. The stream here was dry as well. Maybe we shouldn't have missed school. This tank is probably dry as well, Rani said sadly. When they reached the tank, Divya and Rani realized they were wrong. This tank was full. Rani pointed at a small pump at the end of the lake. There was a tanker just below the pond, collecting water as it flowed. A man stood by guiding the tanker. Mystery solved, said Divya angrily. Where are you taking our water? Divya wanted to know. This city, the man said. I need to supply 9,000 liters today. That's not fair, Rani said. The man shrugged. That's how it is. My friend is a sanitary engineer. Divya yelled. She knows what's fair. The man laughed. Sanitary engineer, it seems? You were just children. Rani said quietly, Yes, but I know you can't just take our water away. Go home, the man said. You can't change anything. Divya had an idea. She hugged the pump. You can't turn it on now. Rani ran up to hug the pump too. Hey, said the man. Now he was really hungry. Just go home, he said. That was when the clouds broke and rain poured. The monsoon is here, Divya shouted. I'm going home if you aren't, the tankerman said. It rained and rained. Whoosh! The bund overflowed and the stream rushed down, splashing them. The water has been found. Mystery solved, Divya said. Woohoo! They yelled with joy. Children, now we are going to see explanation of the story. Okay, children? Divya confused in a boat along with her friend. She was very tired. Then Divya said to her friend, Manju parents also left the village because of that no water. They went to the city where they have water. Maybe we should all go. Rani said, You go. No one asked you be here. The next day, Divya brushed her teeth with muddy water in a tiny glass. Then she went to school. The class was half empty. More families had already left. She missed all her friends. In the middle of environmental studies class, she turned and ran out of school. Then she said, I have to find the water. Suddenly she heard a voice. It was Rani, who had seen Divya running away from school. Rani told her, we have to find this properly like sanitary engineer. Again Divya asked her, like who? She answered her, sanitary engineers build pipes and tanks and drains. I am going to be one when I grow up. Divya and Rani decided to draw a map of their village and all its tanks and streams, showing all the places where the water might have flowed. Where could the water possibly have gone? Finally, they sat back and pored over the map. We haven't seen that tank yet. Divya pointed to one of the tanks they had drawn. Divya and Rani started climbing up the hill. When they reached the tank, they found the tank was full. Rani pointed at a small pump at the end of the lake. There was a tanker collecting water as it flowed. A man stood by guiding the tanker. Divya got angry. She said, Mystery solved. Divya asked the man, Where are you taking our water? The man answered, The city. I need to supply 9,000 liters today. Rani said to the man, That's not good. Divya shouted at the man, My friend is a sanitary engineer. Then the man laughed. You are just children. Rani said, Yes, we were children, but you can't take our water away. The man shouted, You can't change anything. You go home, he said. Then the clouds broke and rain poured. Divya shouted, The monsoon is here. It rained and rained. Divya said, The water has been found. Mystery solved. She howled with joy. Children, water is very important for our life. Let's preserve the water. Children, we should not waste the water. We must save the water and we must save our life. Okay, children? Yes, children, I hope you all have understood this story, the case of the missing water. Okay, children? Thank you, children.